Hello YouTube, this is Michigan Cody coming to you. If you're not 18 years old, please shut down this video and watch something else. This video does not pertain to you and you should not be watching it. If you are over 18, this pertains to you. So the topic for today is going to be, this video is going to be about making your own seeded plant of feminized seeds, of only feminized seeds, and how you do that, or my way of doing it, and what I do in my procedures. So, first few things you're gonna need a total of 6 different things to make what is called colloidal silver. I call it silver water for short. The colloidal silver, what it does is it ends up causing bud sites on a plant to then pollinate itself. It starts letting off pollen of itself. So, to make this water, you need 0.999 silver bars, which they're about $40. Pair of alligator clips with wires. You need a total of 4 clips with 2 wires. Distilled water. A 3 9-volt batteries. A mason jar. And a TDS meter. Now the mason jar can just be one of them, like 1 quart, the size of your hand mason jars. Doesn't have to be a huge mason jar, nothing like that, okay? And what you're going to end up doing is, here's a little diagram. I'll let you look at that. That's the list. I'll leave it there, pause it. Now, what you'll first end up doing is you also need a piece of cardboard big enough to fit over top of the mason jar. So you'll set that piece of cardboard on top of the mason jar. You'll take your silver bars and you'll poke them into the cardboard, into the mason jar, and sit in the water. Both rods need to be in the water. At that point, you'll clip alligator clips on the ends of the 2 pieces of silver that's down in the water. Those will end up going, and you'll end up setting up the 9-volt batteries in a sequence. So positive, negative, plug that into there, hook one of your alligator clips to that, and then to one of your rods, and then one in there into your other rod. And then you will you set that up at night, you leave it overnight. In the morning, you'll end up unplugging it, taking the alligator clips off of there, pulling the cardboard off, and you'll need a TDS meter to then check the parts per million. You want your parts per million in the water, 60 to 100 parts per million of silver in the water. So then at that point, you'll then have your silver water, and you'll be doing this with 1 plant. I'm doing it in my little I'm going to be doing it in my little 2x2 tent, and I'll make a video on that, and as I do that, so you guys can stay up to date with me as I go through it, to see how everything happens and goes. But what I will be doing is I'll be taking the plant, I'll be putting the whole entire plant into a garbage bag. That necessarily is not needed. I just seen a guy do it that way. But what else you could do is just use a paintbrush, because this, I believe he was misting the bud sites with a spray bottle and colloidal silver, where I'm going to be using actually a fine tooth paintbrush, dipping it in the colloidal silver and then brushing it just on the bud sites on 1 branch. And I'll do that every day for about a week to 2 weeks until it starts showing pollen. Once it starts showing pollen, what you then just did was chemically make female bud produce pollen. So that is female pollen. you'll then shake that plant once it started releasing pollen, and it will pollinate all the other bud sites on the other branches. And you want to throw out that one that you put the colloidal silver on. You do not want to use those seeds or use that bud. Throw it away. Cut it off, throw it away after you shake the pollen around there on them. Then the ones that had gotten the pollen from that plant will then be female buds with female pollen, which will then produce all female seeds. There will be no male plants in those seeds. It'll be all female. And that is how you'll end up making your own seeded plant. And you will be running your plant through its full cycle. My suggestion is don't let your plant get big. Only do about maybe a foot tall plant. Top it when it's really small. Top it, have a little couple branches coming off. Maybe top it one more time and let it get to about a foot tall, and then flip it over into bud. Because you can't end up putting this colloidal silver on until about the second to third week into bud, when the buds are starting to get big and mature. That's when you put this colloidal silver on for them to make pollen. And then from there you'll end up shaking, and then each one of those you'll end up, unless you're wanting to make hundreds of seeds at a time, which I'm doing this for personal use and is going to be giving giveaways out to people. I will mail them to people to try if they want to try out the strand after seeing it from start to end. Want to try that phenotype. But yep, that will be discussed on a later date. So I haven't got this all completely set up and have all the material to do this. But when that does happen, you guys will know, because there'll be videos. But that is how I end up making my own feminized seeds. So instead of spending $100 every year, whatever, so on different phenotypes and stuff, I'll just simply make my own. I'll always have seeds. I'll always have something, you know. I'll be able to go back to my very first very first plants that I grew. You know what I mean? So, another thing I wanted to touch base on is NPK. And that is the number ratios that you see on your nutrients, the three numbers, NPK. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Okay? The first one is nitrogen, that they need for beginning of veg. But phosphorus, that they need a little bit with nitrogen through veg. And they also need a little bit of phosphorus through bud with potassium. Essentially, your plant no longer needs nitrogen once you flip it over into bud. Okay? Does not need it. It stores 80% of its nitrogen that it will need for its lifetime in veg. So if you don't give it any in through bud, it's not that they're not going to have any. It's just they're not going to need as much to be able to scratch and grow tall, because that's what the nitrogen is used for. To break down each nutrient by like what they do, I'm about to go over that right now. I actually have that in my notes. Nitrogen is to promote growth. You can actually get white clover cover. It's little seedlings of white clover. If you plant them in the bottom or on top of your soil, they'll actually grow little tiny plants about that big, and they're white clover, and they actually end up releasing nitrogen. So you wouldn't need to feed your plant nitrogen, but that's getting into a whole nother topic. I'm not going to jump on that. But nitrogen is good during veg. The first half of its life, it consumes 80% of nitrogen. Nitrogen is the growth element. Phosphorus is the energy element. Okay? First 2 or 3 weeks, use phosphorus. It helps with root growth. Potassium is the health element. Helps with quality of the flower. That's what potassium does. Calcium, magnesium. Calcium makes strong stalks and cell walls. Okay. Ammonia, that stimulates nutrient uptake. Okay. Ammonia stimulates nutrient uptake. Silica strengthens stems and leaves. Humic acid works great with kelp. Stimulates roots to take up nukes. And then unsulfured molasses is good all around. Okay, you can give that to it from start to finish and it ain't gonna burn it or hurt it. If you soak seeds in kelp for germination, it's a root stimulant. Okay, vitamin B stimulates metabolism. Okay, also remember that. So you can actually add vitamin B into your water that you are soaking your seedlings in a paper towel, and it's crazy, the root growth. It's just insane. But tried posting a video earlier. I ended up getting, it was like 38 minutes long. Went to upload it, had an upload error. So that's why this video is posted now. I think I end up getting off topic a lot on that video, and that's why I went 30 something minutes long, because this one is only at 11 minutes and 37 seconds. I hope this helped break down the process of making making your own seedling plant of feminized seeds and not having to spend big money and worry about your seeds not making it to you. As long as you get a couple and you have them at your house, you can forever make